This is session 5 of Unblocking the Wells, and I'm calling this one Scrubbing the Walls. When we give allegiance to Jesus, there's then a call on our lives to live holy lives. Selwyn Hughes gives a quote from his own experience of living the Christian life, and he says, "It's not a matter of happiness first and holiness if possible, but holiness first and happiness as a consequence." The first call on our life is to live by God's standard, and to be willing to be different from the way the world would live. We are called to be in the world, but not of it. In the early centuries of the church, this desire to lead holy lives led people setting up monasteries out in the desert, where monks could go and live a very ascetic life devoted to God. And this is quite commendable, but it's not for all of us. Most of us have to live in the world. So how do we do that and be different? Romans 12:2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing and perfect will." So it has to start in our thinking. We're called to think about life the way God does. And when we do this, the actions will follow. Again in Romans, but chapter 8, Paul writes, "Those who live according to the sinful nature have their minds set on what that nature desires. But those who live according to the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires." And then in Galatians 5 he writes, "The acts of the sinful nature are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions and envy, drunkenness, orgies and the like." Not a very pretty list. But then he follows it with a list of the things that the Spirit brings forth in our life. And he calls them the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control. We're called to live differently and not accept the standards of the world. One of the things that really puts people off the church is when a person attends church every Sunday and tell people how much they need to repent and believe, but they're dishonest in their business, or they're abusive at home, or they're immoral in their relationships. We can't just be what everyone else is. We're called to reflect the glory of God. We need to stand out as different, but it needs to be an attractive difference. That doesn't mean that all people will love us. In fact, they'll probably at times be quite cross with us or laugh at us or whatever. But remember that Jesus wasn't accepted by everybody either. The good news for us, though, is that the Spirit works within us to bring us into change. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a lifetime process, and it's referred to as sanctification. So let's get scrubbing at the walls of the well.